Well, we have our question right there on our screen. We are told that the cube of a number is 125 less than the cube of the number increased by 5. What is the number? So that is the question that we are really supposed to work on, which is very good for our practice and also to help us jog our minds. So whenever you've got such a case where we are referring to a number that we don't know, we always let that number which you don't know to be an x, and that is exactly what we are going to do. Let's just get into it. So we are going to let that number that is being referred to be x. Therefore we are told that the cube of a number, therefore the cube of x is going to be x cubed. We write it down. We are told that x cubed, which is now the cube of a number, it is 125 less. 125 less implies that it is a certain component that has been reduced by 125, but we are going to get into that. But let's first get to read the whole statement. We are told that it is 125 less than the cube of the number increased by 5. Than the cube of that number increased by 5. Therefore we are having that number which is x, it is increased by 5, and then it is referring to the cube of that. Therefore, to complete these statements, we are told that the cube of a number is 125 less. Therefore we have to subtract 125 from the values that we have on our right hand side, and that is exactly what you are supposed to have. So with this we can get to open up the brackets and see what you are going to get. For the left side there is nothing much that we can be able to do because it has already been reduced to its simplest form. However, on the right side, especially on the first component, we can be able to simplify it a little bit further by the formula that whenever you've got something like a plus b, or actually let me write it here for you, whenever you've got a case like a plus b cubed, this one is always equivalent to a cubed plus b cubed plus 3ab multiplied by a plus b. So this is the simplest formula to open up these brackets with. So whenever you do that, it is equivalent to what you have on the left hand side, and actually this is the concept that we are going to apply right here in order to open up the brackets. Let's go ahead and do that. So on the left side we are going to remain with x to the power 3, and now for these brackets we are going to have the first component, which is an x, we cube it. Therefore we have x cubed, and then we have plus the second element that we have there is a 5, we cube it, and then we have a plus 3 multiplied by the first element multiplied by the second element, that is 5 multiplied by x, that is 5x, and then finally we multiply by now what we have here, that is a plus b, that is x plus 5. Yeah, we are using the formula directly as it is to open up these brackets. And now remember that we've got a minus here, that is minus 125. Yeah, remember that this formula that I've written here for you, it was just there to help you to visualize on how we get to open that. But for now, we don't really need it so much, so we can just eliminate it for now. So we proceed on and see whether we can be able to simplify this equation any further. And indeed I believe we can, because we have now here we have x cubed, and here we have is equals to x cubed plus what is 5 to the power 3. Is it something that we can simplify further? Yeah, because that is going to give us 125. And now here we have 3 times 5, that is 15x. Therefore we write it there, 15x into brackets x plus 5 into brackets minus 1 to 5. Now, by now I believe we can see some like terms together somewhere. Like for instance, we've got x to power 3 here, and also we've got x to power 3 there. And also, if you look very keenly, you realize also we have some other common terms. We have 125 here, that is positive 125 and negative 125. Therefore, everything that we've highlighted, we can eliminate it, because if we were to minus x to power 3 here and minus x to power 3 here, then x to power 3 is going to disappear from the left and from the right side. And also 125, because we have plus 125 minus 125, therefore we get done away with 125. Therefore, what we remain with is 15x into brackets x plus 5 is equals to 0. You see how fascinating it is, because now our equation has really reduced to something that we can really be able to handle much easily. So we go ahead and open up these brackets. We have 15x multiplied by x, that is going to give us 15x squared. We go ahead and open up these brackets further. We have 15 multiplied by 5, that is going to give us 75. Therefore we write it down, 75x is equals to 0. I believe we can simplify this a little bit, but before then we can pick this 75x to the right hand side. Let's go ahead and do that. On the left side we are going to remain with 15x squared is equals to, now on the right side we have negative 75x. Remember that whenever 75x crosses the equal sign, it must change its sign. From there we can divide by our x, we divide by x there, and what you are going to get is that this x is going to disappear with that x, and from here what we get is that we divide by x, here we are going to remain with x. Therefore that implies that 15x is equivalent to negative 75. Is equivalent to negative 75. Therefore, to get the value of x, we simply divide by 15, and we divide by 15 here. Therefore, x is going to be negative 75 divided by 15, and that is going to give you negative 5. But there is something that is very, very important that I'd love to show you, and this is a concept that I wouldn't like you to ever miss out. At this stage that we have right here, that is 15x into brackets x plus 5 is equals to 0. Let me actually write it here for you so that you are able to see it well. 15x into brackets x plus 5 is equals to 0. This one implies that either 15x is equivalent to 0 or x plus 5 is equivalent to 0. If we take the first case, if we could divide here by 15 and divide by 15 here, therefore you could get the value of x as 0, and from this other case we would have gotten the value of x as 0 minus 5, which is negative 5. And if you look very keenly, here we've already gotten the value of x as negative 5. But if we just leave this at this stage, we are going to miss the other value of x, which is 0. Therefore, it's very important that we consider this part that is right here. That is, whenever we've got any numbers multiplied to give us 0, that implies that either of those numbers that are multiplied is equivalent to 0. So therefore, if you are able to to work out this question up to this level and you get your values of x as either 0 or negative 5, therefore you should be able to get your full point for that question, and that is actually the required solution for that.